You asked Rupert Murdoch whether he should have resigned. Do you now think, having seen the email but not read it, that James Murdoch should resign?
I don't necessarily think it right. My own opinion is that it doesn't rise to anything like a resignation matter. The guy was the chairman of Europe and Asia, but it's not really for me or my committee to determine those sorts of things. We're really focused only on whether or not my previous committee was lied to, and if so, by whom, within News International.
Were you surprised when Colin Myler was given the job as editor of the New York Daily News, given that you're in the middle of this?
I was slightly surprised at that, only because, you know, clearly News International personnel, this is all part of the ongoing inquiry, and the committee hasn't yet reported. But again, that is entirely a matter for the companies and their shareholders and who they think would be a good executive, and not really a matter for us, but nevertheless, our committee has yet to produce its report, and so we'll see what comes out in that report.
One of the things that's come up in the subsequent Leveson inquiry is about the way the media treat women. Do you feel that the way the media treats you is a good or a bad thing?
Is that like the movie? There's no crying in baseball. So you don't want to complain about it too much. I think it is a regrettable waste of time when the media focuses on ephemeral stuff instead of looking at policy, because women have an enormous amount to contribute towards policy, particularly perhaps conservative women. There are more conservative women in the new intake than ever before, and this is directly due to the Prime Minister's reforms in opposition of our selection process, and Theresa May and the other feminists in Women to Win actually taking a stance and changing the way the Tory party selected its candidates.
But you don't think it's an issue of general sort of media importance, that it should be, somehow the press should be told, stop treating women like this?
I believe in freedom of the press. You can't tell the press what to print. That would be invidious, and it's not something that I support. The only way out is through, and that's for women to refuse to be cowed, to continue to make the argument, to get up there and talk about policy, and to continue to do their jobs. In the end, that's what will count. And in the end, the focus on ephemeral stuff is going to go away. I have to believe that. The other alternative is for women to say that they should be seen and not heard, and I wouldn't advocate that to any woman in politics.
Do you regret some of the things that you have been heard to say, though? I mean, the Starbucks comments about the people at Occupy,
No.
that was one of them. You don't regret that?
Not at all.
Answering the question about the facelift
I regret.
issue.
No, I regret. So let me qualify. I got my lunch handed to me on Have I Got News for You, and I regret that I allowed my annoyance at the Occupy movement to show through, because that was a mistake on a funny programme, and I deserved everything that I got. But I stand by my point. I don't think that you can have a movement that is purportedly against capitalism and then go round sort of enjoying everything from everything about capitalism. It's contradictory, inherently self-contradictory. That doesn't mean I'm saying that you should live in an agrarian society if you protest the excesses of the banking system. In general, I just find the Occupy movement to be sort of worthless. The Wall Street Journal, I can't remember, the New York Times, did a summary of the people that were involved in the Occupy movement on Occupy Wall Street, and found that most of them are from extremely privileged backgrounds. And I have, you know, huge amount of respect for political opponents, but I have a lot more respect for people that join the Labour Party, join a trade union, get up and make a political argument, other than people that block the public highway and take up public space.
After the riots, you said that maybe Facebook and Twitter should close for a while. Do you regret that, because you're a great fan of social media?
Yes, I do regret it, because of the massive firestorm that followed. And I didn't really care that much one way or the other. It was a classic off-the-cuff remark that you make and that you regret. I thought it could have been usefully shut down for maintenance when sort of, it wasn't like that it was being organised, but the rumours were spreading, which caused police resources to be diverted. But clearly people thought the consensus obviously was that this was a great attack on free speech and censorship, and I wish that I hadn't said it. It would have saved me a month's worth of trouble in the media, and, you know, I'm a great user and lover of social media as a tool for junior politicians to make a point and to make an argument.
You've said about David Cameron in his first speech on women. Why do you think he's got it so wrong with women, though? That
I don't think he has. I totally reject the premise of the question.
Well,
I don't think he's got it wrong with women at all.
But fewer of them were voting for him in opinion polls until just at Christmas.
Well,
there's been a sort of slight upturn, but he was losing votes.
Indeed, you know, the Prime Minister, the government has had to make a series of very difficult economic decisions, which mean that at the moment, you know, you're polling behind Labour in fairly meaningless polls. They're entirely meaningless. and would doubtless change in the hard crucible of a general election. But I reject the premise entirely that the Prime Minister has a problem with women, and the polling has normalised and sort of equals up recent now, so the support between men and women is broadly level. Which is of no surprise to me, because people do realise that, you know, Labour have been making a lot of noise and trying to pretend that there is something going on with women, but although it may have worked temporarily, it is no longer working, and that's because Labour have nothing coherent to say on the economy. And actually women understand, just as men do, that we have to fix the economy, and all social justice, all social programmes, all social welfare, everything to do with children depends on the bedrock of a sound economy. Ultimately, that's why you win or lose elections.
Why does he have so few women in his cabinet, though?
He's promoted women to his cabinet. He's promoted women into junior ministerial positions. He inherited a Conservative party that was a Conservative parliamentary party that was 91% white men. Yeah. It takes time to turn a ship of that magnitude around. And where the Prime Minister can promote women, he is promoting women. He's put women into PPS positions, he's put women into junior ministerial positions. I'm quite confident that he will promote women in the forthcoming reshuffle, and he's been absolutely clear about his ambition to have, what is it, a third of ministerial positions filled by women. And at the same time, of course, the government itself, as a coalition government, is stymied by the fact that many, both junior and senior ministerial positions are reserved for the Liberal Democrats, and the Liberal Democrats don't have enough women.
What sort of job would you like?
Clearly, I am interested in culture, media and sport. I sit on the Select Committee and ran for election to that committee, and have always worked in that area. I started out in the record business, then I became an author. I am even a member of the Writers Guild of America screenwriting guilds. I sold a screenplay to Fox back in my youth, but I don't have any ambitions to be a senior politician at all, to be in the cabinet whatsoever.
At all, or just this in your first 4 years?
It's not. I don't think it's for me ever. You know, I think because it requires, well, principally because I have small children, and it requires a certain level of life commitment that I don't think I could give to the job. I suppose in the end I would like to rise to a sort of PPS level, but if I don't, so what? You can make a conservative argument in the media, and you can advocate conservative positions, you can advocate positions on international development. And if there is a focus on me, then I can use that focus to advance an argument. And I can do that with or without a promotion. But I don't plan on doing any more profile interviews for quite some time, because I am thoroughly sick of myself. And I'm sure that everybody else is sick of me now. And if they're not, there's something wrong with them, because it's all getting absolutely insane. So, you know, whilst I would be happy to go and do something like Newsnight or Question Time or Any Questions, of which I've done very many, I don't plan on doing any more profile interviews for a long time. And that's not because I am a coward, but because I find that you know, there's nothing interesting to say about me anymore.